Welcome to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. Today, we are going to talk about what's your why. The intent of this podcast is to empower my listeners to move forward with their lives, mitigate self imposed barriers, overcome obstacles, and also mitigate what I would call even some of those external barriers so that you may live your best life on your terms. People laugh at that, and that's not a cliche, but I am have a passion for individuals to be able to do that because we can. We can once we determine what it looks like to live our best lives. Sometimes some of us don't know, but I mean your best life on your own terms, not somebody else's terms. For example, if you are not living your best life, think about this. What is it going to take for you to live your best life on your terms? What is it going to take? Do you know what it looks like? If I ask you to write down maybe just three things that will enable you to live your best life on your terms before it's time for us to transition out, would you be able to do it? Well, think about that. And if so, write that. Write it in your mental notes, or you can write it on a sheet of paper. What is it that's going to enable you to live your best life on your terms, right? Now, we talked about I remember asking, sometimes when I go out, I'll ask a person from a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. If I were to ask you, are you living your best life on your terms? What score would you give yourself? From 0 to 10, what would that look like? Now, there may be some people that's living your best life right now, and I applaud you. I think that is awesome. That is a blessing. However, there may be one challenge that you may have that you'd like to overcome. This can also be for you, or there could be those individuals that feel that they are not living a fulfilling life. Now, I'm going to share my story on what it was that I needed to do in order for me to start living my best life. First of all, it came about on a couple of things. Number one, there was a hospice nurse by the name of Bonnie Ware. And Bonnie, before while doing that, she made a decision that she was going to interview people that were transitioning. And she did that. And there were 5 common themes that she found that people indicated why they weren't living their best life. And why, or either what were the regrets. And there were two things that resonated with me that I'd like to talk about. The number one thing was they wish they could have been happier in their lives. And the second thing that resonated with me was they wish they could have been more true to themselves. And I pondered that and said, wow, if I were to go tomorrow, would my regret be, I wish I were happier? Or would my regret be, I wish I could be more true to myself? I didn't like that at all. And because I was at a place where I wasn't living my best life, I knew there was something else that I needed to do that could be of service. And it's not all about me, but if I could serve, learn, and grow with other people, then I think there's a possibility. So I always had this dream of writing a book. I also had that on my vision board. I had several things, but that was one thing on my board that I wanted to do. And do you know, it took me 15, maybe 15 plus years to do that. I started it and then I stopped. I started it and then I stopped. And then I started telling a couple of my friends that I had planned to write a book. 1 year went by, 2 years went by, 3 years went by, 4 years went by. And I said, they probably said, oh, yeah, here she goes. She's perpetrating a fraud. But what I found out is I had barriers that was preventing me to do so. But then as I thought about it, my why got stronger. And that's why I want to talk about what's your why. And what I mean by that is I've always, even in my bio in corporate America, one of my goals and aspirations was to empower people to be the best that they could be. And I still wanted that, and I'm like, so what could I do to do that? And the thing that resonated with me was to write a book. And so that's why my book was written, Is Your Way in Your Way? And it's a self discovery guide for women on how to restore yourself, learn from experiences, and find your true self again. So I'm not saying, everyone, all my listeners, you don't have to start from scratch. Just start from experience and understand why you want to do that. So my why was not only I didn't want to have regrets, but I wanted to be a blessing. I know for a fact that we as women are powerful, and all my listeners aren't women, but the book is written for women. But I'm certain that there are some things in the book that's applicable to men as well because they've shared that with me. But I'm just saying, we have, think about this. I wrote a blog. You can go to my website, CassandraCrawley.com. I wrote a blog about the power of a woman. We are so powerful and we don't want to give up our power. And we want to do what's in our heart because I know that we'll be more fulfilled if, in fact, we're doing what we've always wanted to do, what this burning thing was. And if you put if you're able to answer why you want to do that, it's strong. You'll be committed to do it. I wake up looking forward to working this Is Your Way in Your Way business that I now have because I want all women. If I could just, my vision is like a generation of women to change them, to say, let's get rid of these wearing masks, and let's stop comparing ourselves to others. And we have no fear. Don't fear that. Don't worry about what other people say. Let's do it because I know that you will have a more fulfilled life. Now, but like I said, you have to determine what it is that will enable you to live your best life on your terms. Because a lot of us do things because somebody want us to do it, or it's kind of like we may go to a church because we grew up in the church, but we're not being fed. So now it's time to let it all go, be you, take your power, do what it is that where you can learn, serve, and grow, and be clear. Once you determine what it is that's going to enable you to live that best life, put why. What's your why? Why is it why? If it's strong, you'll stay there, and you have to always remember why. There's an underlying something in your heart that wants you to do this. So it's time to make your move. I look forward to hearing what some of you are going to say in regards to what it is that you want to do. And you will also talk about how you've overcome your obstacles, and you're very clear on what your why is all about. Um, Also, there was a minister by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe, where many of you may have heard of him. I heard him one day. I was sitting in front of him one day while he was preaching or teaching a sermon, and he asked the audience, not for them to answer, but something to think about. What do you think, or where do you think the richest place in the world is? And when he said, I was like, maybe where the diamond mines are. I don't know, the richest place in the world. He said the graveyard. And I was like, oh my goodness, why is that to myself? He said, because that's where so many unmet dreams are. And when I heard that, I thought about all the people that have already gone before us and wondered, what did they do? Did they have the same regrets that Bonnie Ware, the responses of people that were transitioning? Well, like I indicated, I have this passion to support, to empower you to live, because life is short. Live your best life, okay? Now, to my listeners, if in fact this podcast was meaningful, inspiring, please share it with someone that you believe could glean from it. Okay. And remember this: you do not have to start from scratch. Whatever you do, what executing, whatever way your life that you're moving forward in your life, you just have to start from experience. That's what I did. I didn't start from scratch. If it wasn't for the experiences that I've had, I would not have been able to write that book. And I'm just hopeful and prayerful that that book also will be a blessing. If you'd like to hear uh, more about me, or go to my website, www.cassandra.crawley.com. And also, just so you'll know, for those who do not know, I will see many of you, or talk to many of you next week. My podcast airs every Wednesday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for listening. God bless, and bye for now.